Hi, this is Stan from 4-Wheel Campers here in Woodland, California. Just wanted to do a quick video on how to change a thermostat in a 4-wheel pop-up camper. Pretty easy process. I do not work in the service shop, so I wanted to use myself as an example of this normal customer on how they would do this, and pros and the cons, and how easy or hard you might find it to be. Not a whole lot to it. We have some basic supplies, wire crimpers, snips, a couple screwdrivers. I brought a drill just in case, just to make it easier, a new thermostat, the old thermostat. So I'm going to go ahead and get you started and show you how it goes. This is the old thermostat right here. We're just going to switch this one from a digital to an analog. For example, a lot of our customers call in and they want information on how to upgrade their thermostat or change their thermostat if they have a bad one. This one will just pop right off. So you can do it different ways, but it has 3 prongs right here. Pops on here, we usually just wiggle it off of there, the batteries. Just set it aside. I'm not going to use that. This is the base plate, and the wiring is mounted to the cabinets. I would go ahead and just take these 2 screws out here. As I go through this video, I'm going to just try and do a one-take video to show you what you'll run into as well. So bear with me if I make a couple little mistakes. It will kind of be a good learning experience for you as a customer to see the little pitfalls and mistakes that you can kind of forget. Wiring, you can take these little set screws out of the middle here, and there's a little flat head screw. If you loosen that, you can pull these wires out of here for a couple different reasons. I'm just going to snip them. 1, it's quicker, and 2, I can remember what wire went to which terminal. So the white wire on the top here went to the R, and the bottom wire went to the W. So on that thermostat, same labels are here. R is on the top and W is on the bottom. So I'm going to take my 2 little jumper wires. These wires aren't real long. You can crimp this little fitting onto the end of here if you'd like, or you can use a little jumper wire. And we take these 2 wires to make it easier. I'll just push these through the hole and wiggle it through. And then I'm going to take a flathead screwdriver on the top screw here. Loosen that just a little bit. Put my wiring underneath there. Kind of push it down, flatten it down. I'm not going to tighten that one real tight because I have to still put my other wire in here. I'm going to push that over, wiggle this through. Depending on how tight these are crimped will determine how hard it is to pull that thing through. If you squish it down flat, it just takes a little bit more effort to get it through the hole. And take that flat screw here, put this one across. What we're doing is, for size restraints, we crisscross these wires. So one wire comes up this way and the other wire comes down the other way. It allows for more room inside the thermostat cover itself, and the wires won't be so bunched up in there. So you just want to make sure that actually gets underneath the screw. You have enough wiring to get it tight like that. I snug them down, not tightening them too much because it's a plastic thermostat and it's strong, but you don't want to tighten it too much or you might crack it. I just snug them down, feel it, wiggle it, make sure it's not going to wiggle off of there. So those are tight, they're not going anywhere. I have my 2 wires coming out of the cabinet here, 2 wires here. R is going to be the R on the top, so I'm going to use the white wire is going to be this terminal here, but it's actually coming out of here. It's coming out of the bottom because it's coming up here. So I'm going to take this guy and put it to the white wire here, and in order to do that, just strip these back just a hair, straighten them out. Don't want too much to come off of there, but want enough where you can get a good connection on there. If you strip it too far back and have a lot of wiring exposed, then you'll probably want to tape it a little bit better with some electrical tape, which is not a bad idea, but there's not too much in here to touch. Cabinets are wood, base plate and all that is plastic, so in theory it's not going to be touching any other metal components. Take these two wires and then just double checking again. White R, and on this one the R is on the top, which is the bottom wire here. Stick these two together. This is a little tricky to hold these at the same time. Push the wire in and hold it. Crimp it. It's not too bad though. I'm going to move that a couple different places just to make sure that I got a good connection all the way across, and then I'm going to pull on it. Nice good tight seal there, it's not going anywhere. I'm going to take my other wire, just coming from the top here down to the bottom, which is W, and then this one on the bottom is also W. So I know that one's going to my blue wire. Twist those guys. And this is a mistake that we made before. I have forgotten to put my plate on here. My base plate I should have installed first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the long way and do this. I would have preferred to do it the right way the first time, but I'm going to cut this off. It's a good mistake for me to make, actually, so I can show you what you might run into. Average customer switching that out on their own. So up here, probably easier, take this face plate and center it. There's a couple of holes up here and down below for the other one. Those won't line up, so we just want to make sure those covered. Kind of put this thing wherever you want. Then we're going to take our screws and drive those in. And this is kind of important because you want to do it straight. Let me just center it over the hole. Run my screw in there. First one's not so important. You want to make sure it's straight with the hole and it's lined up. The second screw is more important because that's what's going to keep it level. When you have everything put together, tighten down. Ideally you want this to be flat, flush, level mounted. It'll look decent. I'm going to put those two screws in, take them back out, and then give me just a minute here, and I will make one more butt connector from the shop real quick that I can put back on here and finish this up for you. I'll be right back. So I'm back with my part. Said to run to the shop real quick, get another butt connector, as I missed that step. So after you take your old thermostat off, your base plate off, you're going to want to put the cover plate on there. Put the screws through there. I just put the screws so we can pre-drill, make it easier when I put this guy on here. With that plate on there, now I can finish up my wiring. Just let that kind of free spin there. Going back to the beginning again. So my white wire in this guy was hooked up to the R terminal, which on here is going to be, the swivel goes on top, up here, and then the R terminal is up here, which is the bottom wire. So I'm going to take my connector and slide that on there, pinch that real quick. That'll at least get let that set in there for a moment. And then I'm going to put my plate back on there. It's a couple of steps here, but once it's done, it's not too bad. White wire coming off the bottom to R. So you'll see me kind of fumble around a little bit, which is good. It's kind of what I want. Because most customers, if they're switching these out, some of them are good. They know what they're doing. They've done electrical before. A lot of our customers, not so much. It's kind of new for them. It's a really simple process. It's just going to take you a few minutes. I'm going to make sure I got a good crimp on all these different areas in here. Doesn't have to be really tight, but I don't want my wiring coming out of there. So it's snug, and for good measure, I am going to put a piece of electrical tape over there just to cover that guy up. And this stuff is really hard to start because it's tight. It's cold out here in the shop right now. Maybe you won't have to take so long doing this stuff. Electrical tape usually starts a little easier than this, but this is also good. So, pull it off of there. I'm just going to wrap this. Nothing fancy, but it's covered up. It's tight. And I'm going to take my other wire, put it through that hole, go to the blue. Wiggle that in there, hold it. Same time. Grip that guy down. So, pull on both ends. It's tight. I'll put another little piece of tape on there. If you do your butt connections clean, probably don't need the tape, but a little extra never hurts. Pop that on there. Cover. Thermostat wires. Just go back inside. Some campers will have a lot of extra wire. Some won't have as much. You might need to kind of finesse this out a little bit because the wires are stiff. And we're going to take the two screws, which can be the ones that are supplied, are a bit longer, or you can probably get away with the shorter ones. I'm going to go ahead and put the longer one in there just in case. The hole is already in the thermostat for the screw. You can push it through that way if you want and kind of get it started, tighten it down. There's a little pilot hole in the black plate already, and then it just needs to line up to the screw hole. So you can do it with a drill or you can do it by hand. I'm going to do it by hand a little bit to get it started. Takes a little longer this way, but I kind of feel like I'm not going to screw something up as much if I do it this way. I'm getting close, and then I'm going to go ahead and set the other one in there. And the other one goes probably in between or around those wires. It'll fall into the hole in here. Once things get tightened down, this side there's no adjustment. It's just one single screw there. But there is adjustment on this side, up and down, so you can get everything level. Doesn't have to be super tight, this has to be snug. At this point the thermostat's not going to be coming off. It won't fall off on you. It's going to be tight because the screws are going all the way through. Let's twist that, make sure it's on there tight. My wires are tight. I'm going to tighten that down now since we're finished. Snug those down just a little bit more. No wiggle, no wiggle. On the back of this thing, this dial, nothing should have moved, but this little tiny dial, kind of a weather vane on here, just needs to be sitting on the dot. There's little silver dots right here, here. Comes preset onto this upper dot. This one right here. You just want to make sure that you haven't bumped it, and that little arrow and weather vane right here is sitting on that top dot. The cover for it pops right back on here, and you're done. Your digital thermostat works on numbers. Analog, kind of a basic style, has an on-off up here, so all the way to the left will click. It'll actually physically click off. Right now I turned it on so the fan's coming on, but off position is all the way that way. On position is just one click over, and then you can set your temperature accordingly. Room temperature is down here, and this is what you're setting your temperature at. So that's the full installation. You got a back plate to cover the holes. You got an analog, original style thermostat that doesn't require any batteries. It's got a cover, 2 wires, R and a W, and then cover goes back on there. So it's a relatively easy fix. It'll take you a few minutes to switch that out, but hopefully you find this helpful. And if you have any questions, give us a call here at 4 Wheel Campers. Area code 530-666-1442. Thank you.